All right, good evening and welcome to the inaugural Horsepower Racing League here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we are going to be for a show tonight. 125 laps is our scheduled distance. Say for those who are not familiar with these old COT cars, they make a ton of power, and they're going to be a handful for drivers here tonight, especially with the conditions we have tonight. As currently it is sitting at 79 degrees ambient, 114 degrees track temperature. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on what we're going to be looking for. I think grip is going to be the name of the game here tonight, be it the right front or the right rear. A lot of opportunities for drivers to abuse those front and rear tires tonight here at Charlotte. Also, got to mention, of course, this horsepower racing league presented by Hash Brothers Performance. Say for those that are maybe familiar with some of the other leagues, let's say Hash Brothers Performance definitely has been a big sponsor for some of the various drivers and teams, and really cool to see them over here as well at the Horsepower Racing League for their inaugural season. So glad they brought me the opportunity. So really looking forward to it here tonight. And so yeah, so right now qualifying underway here. These drivers are going to try to put down their qualifying laps, see who's going to be the first driver to start from the pole position here tonight at Charlotte. And so again, race distance 125 laps. So you've got plenty of racing to go here as they finish up their qualifying laps. So like I mentioned, still plenty of time to go in this one. So, but yeah, definitely stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. And we'll try to get the fearless leader of the league, if you will. However, I want to make sure I don't interrupt his qualifying time, so we'll keep an eye. I'm going to try to see if I can see that lap go down from him before we pull him in for a chat. But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And yeah, so say if you're looking for a league, though, again, you can look for them, Horsepower Racing League, on Discord. They also have a website as well. Let's say, again, brand new league that just formed up here. This is race number 1 of the season. I'll say these 900 plus horsepower cars, just trying to keep them under control here, should be a lot of fun. But so far, I'll say usually the fearless leader, if you will, he's not much of a chatter. So yeah, trying to keep an eye on him to spot things. But yeah, so some of the names in here that, though familiar from a lot of drivers and from people who are familiar with Green White Checker TV. You got some drivers like Sebastian Marin, Ryan Kelly, Kevin DeBrown. Say Levi Cox is in this group as well. Kevin Fries, Chad Wilkes, Brian Wang, Raymond Rittenauer, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pleshy, Larry Yingling. Very familiar drivers for me. They're also hearing that there's some new drivers, new names, new faces that are from some other leagues that are pretty known on their end, including James Heater, Brian Johnson, Nick Crawford, Danny Cochran, Tom Senchak, Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora, you got Devin Brock, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley, and Larry Dengler. So some of the drivers here. So we're going to have about 20 drivers here taking part in tonight's event. And yeah, so I'm still trying to keep an eye on for that Larry fella, but there's a lap coming down from that 67. We'll see. I'll give him about 30 more seconds, see if he's going to go for lap number 2. Otherwise, we're going to put him on the spot because he's not a very fond of commentating, broadcasting, chatting. So it's always fun to put Larry on his toes. And I haven't had a chance to interview Larry in a handful of months here. So he kind of went on a bit of a retirement from iRacing. So glad to see him back in the seat. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun to see some of these guys, some old names and old faces and everything like that. Kind of a reunion, if you will, for me with a lot of these guys here. So with that, let me go find my victim here in that number 67, the brains behind the Horsepower Racing Lead, and that is Larry Yingling. All right, Larry, so something we've talked about for a long time. You've been wanting to try to set something up and get some cars with some big power and try to have to wrangle these things. Say this is race number 1 for you to put this league together. So, I mean, any nerves on the administrative side, I guess, for starting a new league, new season with a pretty good solid count here. Looks like about 22 drivers. I mean, so a pretty good start here.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some nerves. Yeah, just did not know how many people actually show up. As I know some people had other stuff to do this week, but it just That's fantastic seeing everyone here, and I definitely can't thank them enough. It's pretty awesome. Been working at this for since August now, and stuff didn't really get rolling until a month ago, and I'm definitely pleased with it so far.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to see what these guys have in store for us tonight. So I was watching you guys in practice, and I think traction gonna be the name of the game here tonight, and kind of trying to keep the tires happy, being that right front or the right rear. But I see everybody starting to grid up here, Larry. So I don't want to keep you from the field. So good luck tonight, and say again, really great job to getting this all set up, and looking forward to seeing the rest of the season with you guys here.
Thank you, sir. And just for all the viewers, yeah, this tire model definitely is not for this car. It's just an iRacing issue, just an old car. And so you're going to see a lot of times on a straightaway, people just get pretty squirrely. Just the tires feel squishy on the straights for some reason. But yeah, definitely should be an interesting one.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be a challenge for the drivers, but I think that's what makes it all the more fun. So good luck tonight, Larry. Looking forward to seeing you out here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that is racer/league owner in that number 67 of Larry Yingling. So with that, let's pull up our starting grid tonight. On pole position, you're going to have the 23 of Sebastian Marin. A very familiar sight for those that are part of the Super Speedway racing leagues. So that driver finds a way to get these big laps done. Next to him, you've got James Heater there in the number 18. And then we just talked to him, Larry Yingling starting third, Ryan Kelly fourth, Brian Johnson in fifth. Then you got Kevin DeBrown, Nick Crawford, Levi Cox, Danny Cochran, and Brandon Colley rounding out our top 10. And then from 11th on back, you've got Cedric Hunter, Tom Senchak, as the field's starting to roll off here onto the track. You have Vincent Sora, Kevin Freeze, Chad Wilkes, Devin Brock, Raymond Rittenauer, Zach Hall, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pileshi, and then Tyler Dengler and Brian Wang will be the 22 starters. And it wouldn't be a start of a new season without a rookie broadcaster joining as a driver instead of a spectator. So we'll get those little errors cleared up over the rest of the season here. But again, this is race number 125 laps, our scheduled distance tonight. So we'll see. Sounds like on the strategy side of things, no crazy pit strategies for drivers maybe trying to cut a pit stop out of it. So that being said, though, caution's always opening up some potentials for these guys. And the other, of course, is going to be the limit of 6 tires in the pits. So depending on when those cautions fall, we may see some pit strategy. You won't see these guys duck off and get tires every time. So going to be a lot of fun. And again, really appreciate you guys joining us here at Green White Checker TV for the inaugural Horsepower Racing League race here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, presented by Hash Brothers Performance. All right, so Sebastian Marin, he gets the bonus of being the first pole sitter for the league. So now it's, of course, going to be trying to who can lead lap number 1, and then all the important who's going to lead lap number 125 as the field down and underway as we get this race underway. Again, these guys have to be careful on the throttle, getting up to speed for the first time. Again, these things have a ton of power, and a great start for Larry Yingling. Jumps for a third to second right off the get-go, as Sebastian Marin's going to try to lead the field here out of 2. So far, so clean. Looks like pretty much single file. A little further back, you got Vincent Sora, Zach Hall. Battles here between the 15 and 24. Andrew Pileshi right there in the mix. Sebastian Marin will lead lap number 1, though, in that 23. But right away, Larry Yingling all over the rear bumper of that number 23 machine as they head back into turn number 1. Larry quickly is trying to set some pressure on the back of that 23 machine. And right behind them, James here starting in second, trying to see if he can get that second spot back from the initial start. See things quickly singling out here throughout the field. I'll say some of our closest battles right here. Levi Cox at 99 trying to chase down Danny Cochran in the number 2 machine. And a little further back as well, Kevin Free starting to put some pressure onto Nick Crawford. And here's Maxwell Caldwell in that 94 working underneath the 22 of Tyler Dengler. And then right behind him, you got Brian Wang in that number 07 machine. Saying don't look twice. There is definitely a front and a back, or I should say a front back, if you will, on that number 07 of Brian Wing. So say these drivers are going to have to be careful. They're going to kind of blink twice and not know if that car is facing the wrong way or not. So maybe some 40 chess moves by that number 07. We'll see if that plays off towards the end of this one here tonight. Battle here continues between the 99 and the 2 Danny Cochran, Levi Cox. And we saw a little further back there, Kevin Freeze working over that 11 and the 27. Good little battle between the 3 of them. So right now, this is the battle on track though for position. These two just cannot get away from each other. And this is a tough spot for Levi Cox when you're pinned on the inside here. It's really tough to try to get that throttle down. Again, we talked about the horsepower on these things. I'll say it is definitely, you pretty much got to treat it like you got an egg on the throttle, so you can't just stomp it down there. That thing will spin in an instant. And you'll even see sometimes these drivers, once they get a little too greedy, you'll see that the rears light up with it just from that aggressive throttle. So right now I think these guys are really playing it safe, just trying to take it easy, get their kind of feet, get their bearings beneath them. And then I think as races go on, this race goes on, they'll definitely get some. But as we were watching that, though, we had a move for the lead there. Larry Yingling has taken over that top spot. As I believe we can go back and take a look at that pass for the lead here. So I'll go back and find it real quick. We're going to go back here and take a look and see. So it's just Sebastian Marin getting a little high. Larry Yingling able to stay underneath out of 4 and able to keep the power down and be able to complete that pass entering turn 1. I'm sure also a little bit of patience being played again early with these guys, just trying to learn and feel and everything like that. So I'll say that being said, though, Larry Yingling out front is a dangerous place to be. So he may have not been racing for a while, but it does not take long for Larry to shake off the rust here. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye and see now, can these guys keep that momentum and keep that track position on him, keep some pressure on him, or is he going to use that clean air and sneak away? And so far, you've got the about 5 top 10 here. I mean, you can see all the way back to, I believe it is the 90, actually I'm sorry, the 7 of Brandon Cawley. Pretty much a train right here. Top 9 next is in 10th is Tom Senchak there, about a second back here. So I'll say these guys starting to move up a little bit, little by little. Right now, our biggest mover is right now that 24 here, Zach Hall, up 5 positions up into 13th. But as soon as I say that, Brian Wing, he's going to gain 6 spots there in the 07. So we do have some movers here early on. Right now, the 07, the 24, definitely some of the bigger movers here early on. A little further back, you see a little bit of damage to that 20 of Cedric Hunter. You see that right front crinkle there. Most likely contact to the outside wall in that 20 machine. And you see a few drivers a little further back than I would expect to see. The 17 of Chad Wilkes, used to seeing him up front early and often, but maybe just trying to really take care of the tires here early on, as he's got Raymond Rittenauer right behind him as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on those guys, see how their momentum shifts throughout the course of the race. But right now, though, we got a good battle up here, though. You can see you've got the 24 there of Zach Hall trying to work over that 27 of Devin Brock. And then we mentioned, say, some of these guys right there in that mix as well. The 15, Vincent Sora, Nick Crawford's in this mix. I mean, you've got a gaggle right here. You got Maxwell Cobbles right there in the 94 car. So this is definitely the battle on track right now here from about, it looks like about 12th on back. Up front, though, that train's still kind of forming here. It's starting to drop to about 7 cars with Larry leading this pack here. As you can see, that out the back there, that 7 is starting to just drop a little bit. But right now, these guys are all running pretty relatively same pace here. About 31 7s or so for pretty much the whole top 7, top 8 drivers here. And the last time by, actually, looks like they're starting to pick up the pace as well. As looks like Ryan Kelly trying to work the outside here in that 13. Trying to get, I'm not sure if it's the 19 or 93 trying to get around the 13 or 13 trying to get around the 93. So this is a good battle, though, for the top 5 right here. Looks like the 13 Ryan Kelly going to hang on to that spot, though. And you saw Danny Cochran had some ideas trying to make something happen. Here's Levi Cox once again. He can't get enough of this. He's going to try to go back after him again as he gets a good run into turn number 1. You can see this time he will clear that number 2 out of turn number 2. and that will move him now up into the 7th position. But now he's at risk for the crossover, but it looks like Danny's going to hold and just hold serve for the moment here, as right now these guys starting to pretty tight pack here. For as I said, I thought it was going to spread out a lot more than it has, but so far so good for these guys up front here. I said we've got about a 9-car race up front here. I see the 28 there peeking out to the outside there. I believe that's allowed Brian Johnson to get around the 18 of James Heater. So this guy's starting to little by little, some of these guys starting to make some moves here and trying to kind of crawl up the running orders. Right now up front, it's been Larry Yingling, Brian Johnson, the only two to really make forward momentum in that top 5. Jump a little further back here. We got another good battle going on as well. Maxwell Caldwell starting to work on Nick Crawford in the 11. And then you've got the 15 of Vincent Sora right in front of them as well in that 15 machine. So let's say this is just outside the top 10 at the moment. But yeah, right now these guys are all trying to make some gains for us. And unfortunately for Vincent, 11 hasn't been the start he's been looking for. He's dropped about 7 spots since the start of this race. But again, still a long ways to go here. And again, there's different strategies of how hard you want to push early to be able to take advantage of those tires later in the run. So we'll definitely see if maybe that 11's got the long pace, or maybe just unfortunately just hasn't got the feel for what he needs here so far tonight. But right now, I'll say these guys, like I said, about a couple seconds off the pack here, about 5 or so off the leaders. And like I mentioned, that 7 car is still just hanging on to the edge of that draft. But I'm actually looking right here, though. That 29 of Tom Senchak, he's starting to creep into the mix of this group as well, kind of catching the draft, if you will. And he is starting to get into that pack as well in the top 10 right here. As we saw just in the background there, it looks like the 24 of Zach Hall, he's gotten around Kevin Freeze, move himself up into 11. Right now, the 24 looks to be one to watch here tonight. He's gained 7 positions, and the lap time's looking very strong here for that number 24. So I think Zach Hall, again, going to be one to watch here tonight. And kind of learning the tendency of these drivers. That's the kind of the nice part about a new league, is there's a lot of unknowns. We don't know who the drivers to watch are going to be week in and week out. So it's still going to be a lot of learning to go, and say some of these drivers I am very familiar with, some I am not. So Zach is one of those that I have not had a lot of time with. Oh, you see up there, the 25 Kevin Freeze, very tight on entry there. Just kisses the wall off of 2, and he's going to lose about 4 spots by that mistake, unfortunately. And you can also see a little bit of a right front crinkle. But what I am seeing right now is these cars are starting to get very squirrely on the straightaways here. I think those tires are starting to get a little unhappy with just, again, all the wear they've got. The heat in the track is 120 degrees track temperature right now. I'll say the cars are definitely going to be feeling that right now. So I think that's some other things we're seeing here. Actually, we'll hop on board and we'll try to see. We'll watch the wheel of this 25 machine as they go down the straightaway, and we'll listen in as well to see how it sounds for him here. And you saw right there, even in the middle of the backstretch, that car is stepping out. That, to me, it really sounds like the rear tires are just pretty much gone here. And so at this point, you can see, yeah, he is just drifting his car anywhere and everywhere. So this thing, he's just holding on for dear life right now. As I said, they got trouble up front there. The 07 Brian Wayne contact, I believe it was with Nick Crawford, but so far they're going to hang on to it here. But that was a close call between those guys. But it looks like they're going to hang on to it here. So we'll drop back here and take one more look at this here between that 07 and the 11, I believe it was, to say this. They're coming out of 4 right now. We'll jump back and we'll kind of speed things up here a little bit and try to take a better look. Actually, I'm sorry, it was the 24, it looks like, with the 07. And yeah, oh yeah, just contact entering 1, but both those drivers somehow hang on to it. And just a little bit of a kiss of the wall there for Brian, but yeah, that was very close call there. You can see it kind of stacked up the field behind us. We'll jump back live here. Because right now it's starting, again, some motion starting to happen again. Brian Johnson, he's now worked his way up into 2nd, and he is starting to put the pressure on Larry Yingling. And right now the top 2 starting to stretch it out by about half a second on 3rd on back. And yeah, Chris, our Kevin DeBrown update in that Rainbow Warrior machine of Kevin DeBrown in that 93 car. Yeah, so far not last yet. And so I kind of did him a favor joining as a driver, so say officially he'll at worst finish 22nd with me being in 23rd, but say we'll see what Kevin can do here. But yeah, right now it looks like I said, a lot of these drivers starting to really hang on for dear life. You saw right there, Danny Cochran. That car was stepping out on him in the middle of the trial as well. So these tires are really starting to suffer from these guys. But man, here comes Brian Johnson. As Larry, big bobble off of 2. This is the opening for Brian that he was looking for. He's going to take a look underneath here. And you see right there, I think Larry just rolls right on out of it. Knows it's still early. A lot of racing to go here as we're only on lap number 23 of 125. So now the question mark is going to be some pit strategy for these guys to see, do we see any early pit stops to try to take care of those or take advantage of fresh tires? As right now the lap times have dropped about 2 seconds from their best lap to their current lap. So their best laps around a 31 second bracket, worst at about a 30, currently I should say about 33. Actually, it looks like Tyler Dengler may have had a moment himself here. I'm trying to find him on our timing and scoring in that number 22 machine, but looks like he's still in good shape as well. But yeah, I think these guys are starting to really struggle for grip right now, and so that's going to be, I think, the name of the game right now here is we're watching Vincent Sora, Nick Crawford, close battle between these two for 12th and 13th. And then we mentioned a little further back, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pileshi there. Cedric Hunter, we mentioned Cedric. I mean, he's starting to actually climb back up the ladder, so I think he's been able to take care of his stuff. Even with that right front damage, that car's starting to go back in the right direction. So that's a good look here for that number 20, even with the damage he has to continue moving on forward. And then right now, say we were talking about some of the battles here. As I said, the 99 there, Levi Cox a little loose there. So he's trying to work over that the 93 of Kevin Brown's. Kevin's getting big loose there, as we saw there in 1 and 2. We'll hop on board here with Levi and watch this battle as it progresses. But yeah, these guys are really starting to have to be very cautious, very careful with that throttle application. Like, these guys are losing grip on the straightaways. That's how loose these guys are getting. And that's going to open that door for Levi. Can he complete the pass? He can. Move that 99 now up into 6th. Oh, as you see right there, James here just kissing the wall in the backstretch. That's going to allow Ryan Kelly to sneak on by there. And again, that's the thing, is it's everywhere. I mean, it's not just the top drivers in the 15th and 20th range. It's drivers in the top 5 there. You see they're suffering from this tire wear and grip issue. So again, it's saying the question is going to be is strategy. How early or how late do you want to go? Of course, the bonus of hitting early is you got the fresh tires. You can make up a ton of ground early. But of course, with these drivers and struggling with tires as bad as they are, it also puts you at risk for getting caught out with a yellow. So it's that risk versus reward. And as you see, here comes the 2. He's going to work over the 93, move Kevin now back into 8th, move Danny up into 7th. But yeah, that is going to be a concern, though, for those drivers that may be considering the short pit. As you see, these guys are getting very loose here. Almost going through the grass. There was that 93 for a moment. And then we'll jump a little bit back here because we've got some other battles. Oh, you see the 99 actually. He gets high there in 1 and 2. Just kisses the wall. That's going to cost him at least 1 spot. As here comes the 93. These guys are just hanging on for dear life right now as we're approaching lap number 30 here. Again, 125 laps, so still a lot of racing to go. And so far, no drivers blinking to hit pit road as of yet. Again, like I said, I think the concern is they just don't want to be that first one to hit pit road. But man, these guys are struggling for grip right now. And the other thing is the track is just getting warmer. 122 degrees track temperature now. So yeah, things are starting to really heat up on track and on the track, literally temperature-wise. As you see again, these guys all starting to step out. Saw Ryan Kelly have a bit of a moment there in that 13. I'll say it's hard to know where to look because right now there's just so much happening right now. This is definitely the closest battle on track for these 4 here, the 99, the 93, the 2, and the 7. So these guys are definitely staying tight. But right now I'm watching also Larry Yingling starting to creep back in, and Brian Johnson up front here. It's only 0.3 of a second between the 2 of them. But right now, like I said, it's hard to look away from this battle right here because these guys are going after it tooth and nail. You got Cedric Hunter, Maxwell Caldwell continuing to fight inside the top 15 here. And so we'll jump back to this battle once again because we saw there just a split second there. Looks like the 7 got around the 93. So now move Brandon Colley up into the 8th position. So I say we talked about that 7 just outside the draft earlier. He's starting to make his mark as well, starting to creep in a little bit more. And again, the tire wear looks like it's dropped into about 33, 34 second range. And finally, we do have a taker, Kevin Freeze. He's going to be the first to hit pit road here. He has had enough. He's going to go 32 laps before he's going to hit pit lane. We'll see if that brings anybody in with him, and it does. Here comes Ryan Kelly. He's on pit road. Kevin DeBrown on pit road as well. So these guys pitting at lap number 32, 33 to open up the pit stop window here. So saying again, this is a tire pit stop at this point. This isn't a fuel pit stop for these guys. They've gone as far as they can go, and they say, okay, enough's enough. I gotta pit here. Raymond Rittenauer in the 87, he's hitting pit road as well. So we'll say we had a couple top 5 drivers there, top 5, top 10 hit pit road. Do we see any response from our leaders? The answer is no. They continue to stay out. So right now, top 3 breakaway with Brian Johnson, Larry Yingling, and Sebastian Marin. Then you got about a 2 to 3 second gap back to James Heater in the 18. Saying this is that big battles. Oh man, that was a big save by that number 2 of Danny Cochran, drifting that car through turn 1. Able to gather it back up, but very, very close call for him, able to hang on to it. But like I said, these guys are just holding on for dear life here. But this is the worry, though. If you're those drivers that pitted early, you want this thing to stay green and cycle through completely, because you do not want to get trapped with a under the pit stop situation here. So right now, these guys want to see the rest of these leaders pit sooner than later. And right now, the first out of pit road is that 13 of Ryan Kelly, then Kevin DeBrown, then Kevin Freeze. As unfortunately, it looks like long pit stops for the 27 of Devin Brock and Raymond Rittenauer, most likely speeding on entry. So that's going to be stop and hold penalties for those guys. As almost thinking about going 3 wide, they think better of it here. Let's say the question is going to be his lap time, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. Actually, as I said, here comes the 2, Danny Cochran. He does hit pit road now, coming in at lap number 36. So right now, say that's the second leader here to pit here, other than the top 2 we talked about early. Brian Wang, he's just hit pit road as well. And there's the difference. Ryan Kelly in that number 13 with fresh tires, 31.30 last time around compared to the leaders 33.21. So 2 seconds a lap faster right now for that number 13 car. So depending on how long these leaders wait to pit, this is definitely a very good short-term game for Ryan Kelly. And for those that don't know Ryan Kelly, he's usually a very solid driver, trying to take care of those tires and keep them in really good shape here. So we'll see what he can do right now in that 13 car. He is about a half a straightaway back from unlapping himself here, as he's currently sitting 1 lap down in that number 13 car. As we'll jump up to the leaders, and here that's where they are right there. That's the difference right now between the 13 and our leaders. And so right now, looking good for Ryan here. Say, just again, like I said, for Ryan, he needs this to stay under green for his strategy. Also, you mentioned Andrew Pileshi. He has hit pit road. He is down and away. And so it looks like Danny Cochran, a clean pit stop for that 2 car as well. So of the drivers that have pitted right now, it's the 13 and the 93, then the 2 are the top 3 of those that have pitted. But again, it's just waiting to see when these guys from the rest of the top group here, because we've still got about 13 drivers that have yet to pit. As you can see, though, here comes Ryan Kelly, though. Say, just looking in the background, that 13 car is already there. I'll say it looks like he's going to complete this pass from these guys here through 1 and 2. And I mean, look at the speed difference between them. But he's got to be careful. The 28, he does see, he stays low there. Larry tried to take the opportunity to try to get back by around him, but it looks like Brian's going to hang on to the spot. Actually, as I said, maybe not. Here comes Larry. He's going to duck low. But you see right there, though, that 13, he unlaps himself there. So, and still the leaders continue to stay out. I think, again, banking on these potential yellows. But right now, the job number 1 for Ryan Kelly, though, unlaps himself. So now he is back on the lead lap if there's the yellow. But of course, he would be at a tire disadvantage if these guys pit, and he does not. So that'll be the next question, of course, to see. But right now, still got lots of racing to go here. Levi Cox just pitted on lap number 38. I'm just waiting to see when these leaders blink, and so far these guys are staying out here, continue to run, as here comes Kevin DeBrown. The 93, also same situation. He's got fresh tires on that 93 car. He's going to make quick work of these leaders, but I'm watching actually Sebastian Marin. He's starting to creep back in on these guys, so great job by this number 23 here to get right back into the picture as well. So Sebastian trying to work these guys over now as well, trying to get back up into this top battle here for the lead, as he's going to take a peek here entering turn number 3. And it looks like he will complete that pass and move Sebastian Marin out back into second place, as Maxwell Caldwell, he hits pit road in that number 94 machine, which will leave us now 11 cars yet to hit pit road. But again, kind of trying to keep an eye on the fuel mileage of the strategies here for these leaders, to see if there's any chance someone can go alternate strategy based on the 125 laps. So we'll watch to see the numbers. Based on what I'm seeing here, though, with Larry pitting, if Larry pits here soon at 42, that would take him to about 84 and then to 126. So this would be about splitting it even to make a 2-stop race. But again, leaders continue to stretch this thing as far as they can. But the concern is, are they losing too much time in the process by just staying out as long as they are, losing, again, multiple seconds a lap to these guys that have already pitted? Nick Crawford, Vincent Sora, they are both on pit road, so that leaves now 8 drivers yet to pit. Let's say, sorry, we've been focusing on the top 3, but a little further back here, you got James Heater, Brandon Colley, a good battle here for 5th and 6th between the two of them. But so far, like I said, still top 3 not going to blink here. But again, I'm mentioning Sebastian Marin. He's putting the pressure on Larry Yingling. He's starting to creep back into the fight here. We saw him drop back a little bit early, but looks like that car is starting to maybe I wouldn't say get into his liking, but he is really starting to get a better feel. It's driving better for him than it is for these other two around him. You can see the just momentum he's gaining through the middle of the turn, as Brian Johnson, our 3rd place driver, he hits pit road. So I'll say, other than Ryan Kelly was one of the furthest up when he hit pit road. Here comes the 2 car of Danny Cochran, also one of those that pitted there. So you can see again the speed difference. Lap 38 for that 2 car just blows right. I'm sorry, lap 35 for the 2 car just blows right by our leaders here. Again, these guys falling into the 33-second bracket, whereas the drivers that have pitted are still in the 31s. But so far, these guys just aren't going to quit. I think at this point, these guys are just going to run this thing as far on fuel as humanly possible. Just never know how it's going to go. But there goes Sebastian Marin. He's going to, looks like, clear that number 67 entering turn number 1. So our pole sitter gets back into first position here. Also see there the 7 Brandon Colley. He is on pit road as well. So saying that leaves now 5 drivers left to pit. Sebastian Marin, Larry Yingling, Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, Chad Wilkes. As I said, there goes Larry. He's ducking onto pit road now in that number 67. Looks like able to get down to speed in time as well. So this is coming to lap number 47 for Larry when he's hitting pit road. And also Zach Hall in the 24, he responds as well. He hits pit road. So now 3 drivers left to pit. And I mean, we're going to have about a 15, at minimum 15 lap difference here between the first of the pitters at Ryan Kelly, Kevin DeBrown, to right now at 47. Oh, the 99 just steams right to the outside. Close call there for a moment there. As, oh, it's a big slide for Sebastian Marin. He is known for his pit entries, but that was close. I thought I saw tire barrels in his future, but he avoids them. Now the question is, did he get slowed down in time to avoid a pit penalty? That's going to leave now Cedric Hunter in that 20. Talked about him earlier. He's going to take the point in that number 20 machine as he's approached. He just crossed line there at lap 48. And then Chad Wilkes about 2 seconds back, still also staying out here. You can see, again, the difference, though, old tires and new. It is a very tough spot to be in with those old tires. Trying to make some time, but also stay out of the other drivers' ways. But, man, these guys are just, those old tires are just barely hanging on for dear life. But I think here's the 28. Here he comes. He's going to duck left, I believe, onto pit road. Nope, he's going to keep going. It looked like he slowed down for pit road, but he did not, as Chad Wilkes also stays out here in that 17. So these guys are definitely going for the full stretch route. So once this cycle completes, again, still 2 more to pit here, but it will cycle around with Ryan Kelly as our leader, who's currently in 3rd. Again, though, we talked about some of the drivers that stayed out the longest. Brian Johnson, he's back in 7th position. Larry Yingling in 10th. Sebastian Marin in 11th. So that being said, though, last lap, though, Larry Yingling, Brian Johnson over a 1.5 quicker than our leaders. So again, now they're on the fresh tires, leaders on slightly older tires. So that's the risk versus reward. So right now, say Larry's feeling like Superman on those fresh tires, as is Brian Johnson. But right now, I'm thinking that 20 to 17, I think they've got something up their sleeves here. I think they've got some strategy going on right now. However, the problem with that, here comes Ryan Kelly. He is working on trying to take the lead back in this race before our leaders even have a chance to hit pit road here. So it's definitely, there's a lot of gambling going on here. We've got some drivers that pitted early, some drivers kind of pitted right in the middle of the cycle, and some that are just stretching this thing to the absolute end of their tank here. Maybe seeing if they can prove Larry wrong and make this a one-stop race. So we'll try to keep an eye on those guys, because here comes Ryan. He's going to grab 2nd right here through the tri-oval. You can see Ryan Kelly, his tires are already starting to struggle too. That thing's stepping out a lot on him as he gets around that 17. Now setting his sights on that leader in the 20. So we'll jump around. I'll say, well, once we see the pass for lead here, we'll start jumping around a little bit to see what's going on, and saying, here comes that pass for lead right now. As Ryan Kelly's going to duck to the left there and swing right on by, clear himself out of 2. So Ryan Kelly going to take the lead back over in this race over Cedric Hunter, Chad Wilkes, who have yet to pit. In 4th position is that 93 of Kevin DeBrown there. Again, also pitted the same lap as Ryan Kelly at 32. Lap 35 was Danny Cochran in the 2 car, so he's got 3 lap fresher tires than those in front of him, who is currently about 2.5 or so seconds behind the Kevin DeBrown. Levi Cox another 2 seconds back, pitting on lap number 38. So again, even fresher tires for him. But right now, I think right now advantage is gonna, I'm saying, is right here. 28 car Brian Johnson, he pitted at lap number 44, so he's got 11 plus laps fresher tires than these guys in front of him, and he's got the advantage over Larry Yingling right now by about 2.5 seconds, and it's only a 2-lap difference on pit stops between Brian and Larry here. So I'm kind of liking right now where the 28 car is sitting. I feel like he's had really good pace here, and now he doesn't have to fight that 67 car as well. So yeah, pretty good spot here for Brian here. Larry's going to have to do a little bit of work to close that gap, as last time by he was about a solid 1/10 of a second quicker. 31.81 for Brian Johnson, 31.69 for Larry Yingling. Then Sebastian Marin, that also, again, he pitted a lap later than Larry at 47, is about 3 seconds back off that 67 machine. But right now, like I said, Ryan Kelly is continuing to lead this race here. But again, Cedric Hunter, Chad Wilkes, they have still found a way to hold the fuel in these cars and not pit yet. And as I said, here comes Kevin DeBrown. He's going to try to grab that 3rd spot from that 17 car. He's going to cut left, gets loose. That's going to cost him a bit of momentum, as he is, both these drivers just trying to hang on to these things for dear life once again. And you can see right there, Kevin just completely had to get out of it, because if not, that car was probably going to loop around. So I'll say again, I think the 93, he's pretty much burned up the good in his tires. And if his already struggling pitting at 32, imagine what the drivers like the 17 and the 20 are feeling like, as that was all that 28 needed to happen. There's just that loss of momentum, and that lets him get 2 for 1 here through turns 1 and 2, jumps himself up into 3rd, and you can see that 20 right ahead of him trying to grab that 2nd spot next. You saw there Brian Johnson, he does get around there, so move Brian now up into 2nd, and now it's about a 4-second gap or so between our first and second position drivers. Again, 12 laps of tire difference between the two of them. And I'm saying right now, let's say we're going to jump back here because, man, these guys are all over the place. I think Kevin loose again at 93. That's allowed Larry Yingling on by. He's going to get around the 20 here as well. Because, again, Larry can't waste too much time. He's got to try to keep pressure on that 28 machine. As, again, these guys, we know for sure they've got 2 more stops as Chad Wilkes finally gives up the ghost. He's going to pit here at lap number 59. Which leaves now just the one driver, Cedric Hunter, the remaining driver to hit pit road. But there's Ryan Kelly. Go back about 3 seconds now, and there's Brian Johnson. I say Brian last time by a full second quicker, 32.22 to Ryan's 33.25. And Larry even 0.2 quicker than Brian with a 32.03. So I'll say these guys, again, they're all going to try to accordion back to each other here. But unfortunately, the one driver that hasn't gotten through the pack as well as Brian and Larry is that 23 of Sebastian Marin. He's still back in the 8th position. Running fast lap times, 31.90 that last time by for the 23 car, but unfortunately is multiple seconds behind these two. So just either hasn't got through traffic very well, or maybe just being real easy on his tires here. Again, letting the grip build in and then going after it. So we'll have to keep an eye on Sebastian here as well. But I'll say the one driver we're still waiting on, though, is that number 20 of Cedric Hunter. And now he's finally going to give it up here. He's going to pit here at 61, which unfortunately is still going to be a few laps short of making it on a one-stopper, again, with a 125 lap distance here tonight. Alright, so with that sorted here, let's run through the field while we have the opportunity, as right now it's Ryan Kelly leading the way in that number 13 machine. Right behind him, you've got the 28 of Brian Johnson. Again, fresher tires closing that gap rapidly, now under a second, as Larry Yingling doing the same in that 67 car, under a second on Brian as well. So these two are going to try to put the race back between them once again. And then in 4th position, you got the 2 of Danny Cochran right now, +5 from his starting position. But here comes our pole sitter, Sebastian Marin. He's going to try to grab that 4th spot here down the backstretch. Saying that'll move Sebastian now back up into 4th, although again about 3.5 seconds back of Larry. And then in 6th position, you got Levi Cox in the 99, trying to get around the 2 cars. They have a close call there. And then right now in 7th is the 93 of Kevin DeBrown. In 8th is the 11 of Nick Crawford. 9th is the 29 of Tom Senchak there. And then you say he's got a bit of a pack here around him. You got the 15 of Vincent Soro right there as well, rounding out our top 10. And then about a second back, you've got the number 07 of Brian Wang there in 11th. But here comes Maxwell Caldwell just a little further back in 13th. And then you've got James Heater there right behind Maxwell in the 14th spot. Brandon Colley in 15th in that number 7. Actually, as I said, Kevin DeBrown hitting pit road here. So say this is a scheduled stop for that number 93. He's splitting this thing, it looks like, at about 30 to 33 laps or so. So that'll drop him down. Say that's going to move Kevin Freeze now up into the top 15. Andrew Bowe is loose already there too for Kevin. Andrew Pleshy right behind him in 16th. And then again, some of these drivers have stretched as far as they could, though. Chad Wilkes in 17th, Cedric Hunter in 18th. But they will have the best tires of anybody in the field right now, so they're going to try to kind of claw their way back up there. And then the 22 of Tyler Dengler just rolling out of pit road, I believe they're in the 22 car. So I'll say we'll see him get back up to speed here as well. And then also Devin Brock in the 27 car in the 21st position. Unfortunately, it looks like Raymond Rittenauer, after that first pit stop, he may have called it because he's still sitting on pit road. But we're going to jump back up front because here comes Larry and Brian, and they're going to continue to fight for this lead. Again, it is a 2-lap difference on the tires. But right now, though, Larry's been showing like he's got the advantage, but you can see Brian is not going to give it up easy here. We'll see who's got the momentum out of turn number 2. Like Larry's just going to hang on to it there for the moment. However, this battling is great news for our 4th place driver Sebastian Marin, because again, he lost a lot of time from them in this whole pit stop cycle. I'll say, and it wasn't anything that he had a great pit entry, pit exit. It's just, I think the 2 extra laps, he did set him a fair bit back here. As you can see, he's trying to work over Ryan Kelly in that 13. He's going to duck low here in 3. And that'll now move Sebastian back up into 3rd position. So like I said, kind of a short-term gain for that 13. Now he's going to drop to 4th. I'm going to say overall probably a net game for Ryan Kelly personally. I think holding out 4th solidly by about 3 seconds over Levi Cox right now. But again, I'm going to be watching lap times here. As last time by, again, Sebastian Marin quicker by about 2 to 3 tenths over our leaders. So I'm really thinking that maybe what was happening for the 23 is maybe, again, just trying to ease those tires into their kind of their operating temperature and then get after it and make some big lap times towards the end of the run versus making those big early laps to try to gain that track position right away. So yeah, I think the 23 is definitely going to be one to watch here, because I think right now, looking as it is, looking like a 3-horse race as last time by. Only about 600ths of a second quicker for Sebastian over Larry, 79 to a 73. So we'll say right now, again, for Sebastian, if he can get that 67 and 20, if they can continue to battle each other, that's going to be in his best interest. So drivers that have made their second pit stop now, including Danny Cochran in the 2. He's on pit road. We mentioned Kevin Brown already hitting pit road as well, along with Brian Wang in the 07. Say right now, Kevin actually starting to work over some of these guys that made that early pit stop. Say first on his list is going to be the number 20 of Cedric Hunter, who's about 3-4 seconds ahead of him, and then Chad Wilkes. So that's the difference right now between a 1-stopper and a 2-stopper. The 17 and the 20 are actually net ahead of Kevin, with 2 different strategies there, with these guys stretching as far as they could before they pitted. Kevin kind of splitting it in the middle there, basically. So that just shows how much fall off these tires do have. So even with the 93 pitting twice compared to the ones for the 17 and the 20, Kevin's only about 3 seconds back from these guys. So it just shows how different strategies can work for different drivers. But right now, still watching this battle up front, because while Larry got the lead, Brian has not gone anywhere. He's going to try to keep that pressure on the back of that 67. Like lap time starting to settle in a little bit here. It was a 97 and a 95 for Larry and Brian, 89 for Sebastian. And right now, actually, other than those that have already made their second pit stop or the late pit stop, actually, as I say, here comes Brian. He's going to take a look here, entering turn number 1. Again, trying to switch over the lead again. This is, like I said, this is what Sebastian, again, 2 seconds back. He is loving this right now, because the more they stay side by side, the more he can close the gap on these top 2. And say, cool. That being said, though, we got to jump back and watch this battle, because these guys are going at it very well here. Say again, hard racing, but clean and fair racing between the 2 of them. Like I said, it's a brand new league, but you feel like these guys have been racing each other for years here. Saying just also catching there, you see the Dodge Charger grills in the front of these guys. So say a little bit of a maybe manufacturer battle too. Who's going to be the best Dodge driver here tonight? So there's always those little bragging rights you want to do and have. So. Say right now, Brian's got it. Larry trying to get it back off of 2. He's going to get the momentum. But here comes, like I said, here comes that 23 now, a second and a half back. Then here comes that 17 as well of Chad Wilkes with those fresh tires. He's putting some quick lap times down as well, along with that 22 right behind him of Tyler Dengler. So you just got to try to keep track of who's got what tires when, because it's so hard to kind of the comers and the goers. It's really tough to keep track of it. But what we can tell you though is next time by, we are down to 50 to go in this race, and we know at that point these guys can easily make it to the end on 50, because we've seen some guys go over 60 laps on fuel. So the question will be when they want to make that final stop for Larry, Brian and company, Sebastian. I think they're going to want to go to, again, probably about 80, 88, maybe 85, 90 range, I would say. To kind of continue that even split that they've been doing. So we'll have to kind of see again. It's going to be a question of who blinks first, and then of course which driver maybe with the tires. Where's the advantage? Is it pitting later and having that long run speed at the end? Is it gaining the short run speed at the beginning? So there's going to be a lot of question marks there. Do need to mention though, Ryan Kelly, we talked about him leading a lot of laps early. He pitted there at lap 72, so now he's back into 15th position. But again, at this point though, pitting at 72, I believe he can go to the end here. Of course, tires will be pretty angry with him by the end there, but we did see he kind of solidified himself, into about a solid 3rd or 4th spot there in that 13 car, so not a bad spot to be. But of course, like I said, still lots of racing to go here. As right now it looks like Maxwell Caldwell and Brandon Colley, a good fight here just inside the top 10 as, man, Maxwell drifted it through the trial there trying to cut underneath that 7. 7 was having none of it though, so he's going to hang on to that spot. As right now I'm going to say advantage is going to go to Brandon as he has 5 lap fresher tires than Maxwell, pitting at 45 compared to 40. But yeah, these guys, but again, Sebastian Marin though, he's closing that gap. You can see the 17, he's gotten around those 2 in front of him. As here comes some more fresh tires there, the 93, the 22. So say this is where, unfortunately, when you're the 23, you got to let the fresher tires on by because there's no point fighting. It's just going to cost you more time. That way they can hopefully get to those leaders and then you can slow them down and kind of put the fight back to you. So, but yeah, 17 though, Chad Wilkes, he puts himself back onto the lead lap with his move around the leaders there. So that's a good spot for him to be in. Of course, you always want to be the tail end of the lead lap if you're in that situation versus being the first car one down. So that's mission accomplished number 1 for Chad. Then we'll see how the rest of this run goes for him. But like I said, here's the thing. Here's the top 2, but here comes a lot of fresh tires behind him. The first is going to be the 93. They swing around Larry without any trouble. 22 is going to be next in that line there, and then you've got the 81 of Andrew Pleshy. So and then not too far back is that 20 car as well. So these leaders, they are in a very tough battle here because again, you want to fight here, but you can't be too greedy. So you kind of have to pick and choose, and that opens the door for Larry Yingling. He can try to see if he can maybe get through that traffic and get out a little bit further and close ground on those leaders. So right now it looks like pretty much a wash though, so I'm going to say kind of a net, net even between the 28 and 67. I don't think much change in that one, but here comes the 20. He's the next in line here to try to get around them. That's Cedric Hunter. Again, also Cedric trying to get back to the tail end of the lead lap in that 20 machine. And then it'll be getting back, and then here he is right there, Sebastian Marin. He is right back into this thing. So it took a lot longer than we saw Larry and Brian get together. However, now Sebastian's back in this. Now the question is, how are his tires? You can see the hands, they are moving as he is trying to keep that car in check here through the turns as well. So we've got a really good 3-horse race here for the lead right now. Or I guess if we want to pull the sponsors into it, we got a 3-bull race in this one right now. And here comes the 13, Ryan Kelly. Again, Ryan, he's good to the end of that 13 car. He's going to swing around the top of that 67 and the number 23 and then get the great exit off to tuck right left underneath that 28 and put himself back in the tail end of the lead lap. So again, Ryan pitted already at lap number 72. He should be good to go to the end on fuel. Tires will be a little bit of a struggle, but right now we've got a great 3-car battle for the lead right now as Larry's going to try to work back underneath the 28 of Brian Johnson. Sebastian Marin right now got the best seats in the house watching this battle here, but he doesn't want to be watching this battle. He wants to be in it, and he is going to do so right now. He's going to peek underneath that 28 car. A little bobble, loses a little bit of momentum here, and he's just trying to see if he can clear. But now, right now, there goes the 28. He's going to try to cut to the inside. Can he clear him? Just gets him there out of 4. But again, here comes some fresh tires in the 2 car now of Danny Cochran. Now Danny's going to try to do this, and it looks like teammates to that number 28 machine, if I'm not mistaken, looking by the sponsorship of it. And so there goes the 2 again, using those fresh tires, and you see a great move there by the 23, able to cut back down low before the 28 had a chance to get underneath him. And now Larry's having to play a little bit of defense and let that number 2 on by, but trying to avoid letting that number 23 by as well. So as things stand, we for sure know the top 9 drivers in this race will still have to pit, as they all pitted from the range of lap 40 to lap number 47. No, it's not going to matter. Caution is out. That's going to change everything, and it looks like it may be Maxwell Caldwell. See him try to loop that thing around and get back and grab a gear and get going again. Unfortunately, that's going to drop Maxwell down a lap, but that's going to be the first yellow here tonight, and that's why those guys were so aggressive and trying to make sure they got back onto the lead lap, because just in case something like this happens, they don't get trapped a lap down. So we'll have to go back and see what happened here to bring out this first yellow. And honestly, probably a pretty happy yellow for a lot of these drivers here. So let's go back. We'll take a look here. As we're watching Maxwell in that number 94 car. And you can see the tire marks coming off the back of that 94 car already through 1 and 2. And it's just a 4-wheel drift right there, it looks like. And then from there, just, yeah, that thing just, there's just no traction. And say, we've seen a lot of drivers do this, and just, this is the first time it bit the driver enough to actually send him around. So, yeah, I mean, that's honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. But you can see what Maxwell does there. He just locks it down, keeps it down to the bottom, and then once he's off the racing surface, just loops it around. So let's say if you're going to have an incident, that's exactly what you want to do to try to get that thing gathered back up. So I'm going to say great hands. It was a great job by Maxwell to avoid making it worse than it could have been. But we got to bring up pit stops here, because it's going to be now our top 3 hitting pit road. Will the number 1 pit stall be an advantage here for that 23 of Sebastian Marin? Looks like Larry is going to win race off of pit road, but it was not for a lack of effort though, because Brian Johnson's pit crew 14:08 compared to 14:48 for Larry. I'll say if Brian was in second instead of third, that might be the 28 leading this restart here. But a great pit stop though for that number 28, and just not quite enough to jump the 67. And that's going to bring a lot of drivers back into the mix here, and say unfortunately it does burn a few drivers who were again going for that alternate strategy. That's going to now cost them an extra set of tires. So we mentioned again 6 sets in the pits if I'm not mistaken. So say drivers that are going to have 1 less set of tires than some of the others, including Kevin DeBrown and Ryan Kelly, as there's no question you have to pit, you have to take tires. There's no strategy there. But then drivers that went long on those runs, like Chad Wilkes, for instance, in the 17, and Cedric Hunter, they are in a pretty good spot on the tire front, as well as they had only made their first stop. And actually, kind of the same as Larry and Brian, the caution timing is actually probably about perfect for these top 3, as they were really close to their pit window anyway. So, yeah, pretty good start for them. So as you can see, you got the double Civic there of Brian Wang. He's going to stay out here. He wants to get back on the lead lap. I believe he's just 1 down at the moment. Yeah, he's tailing the lead lap, as is the 29 of Tom Sinchak and the 22 of Tyler Dengler. However, they'll get back in the lead lap. The problem is though, they're gonna have about 20. Looks like about 12 lap fresher or older tires. I'm sorry, 12 lap older tires for Tom in the 29, and about 20 lap older tires for Brian and Tyler. Those cars are going to be in a tough position there with those older tires to try to stay on this lead lap if we go green. I think these guys are hoping for a quick yellow, get themselves back on the lead lap, get that free pit stop, if you will, and then get back into the thick of this thing here. Yeah, Matt, there's a reason why I'm in the booth here tonight, because, yeah, these guys would just pick me up and put me down. The talent in here has been pretty impressive, and these cars are a handful to be gentle about how they are. So this will be, again, so we're going to have our first Horsepower Racing League restart. I'll say, that being said though, I'd say I was required to put this out there, because if not, there could be potential trouble. This will be the first Larry Sucks Racing League restart, because right now these guys aren't going to be the very happiest with Larry. It's like, come on, man, you start a league and you're leading too. We're not okay with that. So, but right now, I say Larry is doing what Larry does best. He's been in contention this whole race, but right now, I mean, pretty much wipe the slate clean because we've got a fresh restart here. You got some drivers now that got some great track position. Look at Vincent Sora in that number 15 car. He is now up into 4th position. He qualified in the 13th spot, so this is his first real opportunity now to restart towards the front of this field. We'll see what Vincent has in store for these guys here. Ryan Kelly's still there in 6th. Again, that double pit strategy didn't quite pan out for him as he probably was hoping it would. So now, again, we'll see these guys. We'll see the aggression here. How aggressive do you risk being to try to... Again, you can make it to the end here, but if you get too greedy too early here, your tires are going to be completely shot. As, again, talk about the weather, too, right now. Track temperature 126 degrees now. So this track is going to be even more slick. So these guys have to be careful and be smart on this restart because they, even though with the fresh tires, they can easily still roast these things on the restart. So control car going to be that 67 of Larry Yingling, 28 of Brian Johnson to his outside. And so we'll let the pace car duck off and we will see what they've got in store for us here as we see Larry down and away already. These guys all starting to jockey for position. A little bit traction loss, I think, for that number 13 there, Ryan Kelly. But we're back to green. Great start for Larry, though. He's able to build a couple of car lengths over Brian Johnson. Sebastian Marin's going to tuck into 3rd. And then Vincent Sora there solidly into the 4th spot. But so, yeah, I think unfortunately the driver that did not have the restart he wanted there was that 13 Ryan Kelly. Just a little bit of traction loss. And he's now kind of trying on the back foot, trying to get stuff back together here. But say if there's anybody who's good at the long run of these races and trying to keep his car in one piece, I would watch that 13 Ryan Kelly. So we'll see. I'll say the COTs, of course, a very different animal, but right now we got a couple of good battles here. Right now you see the 17 and the 11 trying to get those positions with one each other just inside the top 10. There's that 2, Danny Cochran. He's trying to peak low as well, but that door gets quickly closed on him by that 24 car. So yeah, these guys, they've got fresh tires, they've got track position. We're all bundled up. They're going to be going after it here. Oh, you see the 93 up at the top here. It's actually has something. Oh, I think possibly a pit penalty if I'm not mistaken. He's gonna. I think I may have seen what happened there. I think he may have wound up passing the the 13 on the inside on that restart. So unfortunately, I believe that's gonna be at least a drive-through, possibly a stop and hold for that 93, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll keep an eye and try to see what that 93 car has to do. But that's a tough one that's a tough pill to swallow there for the 93 car, knowing where you were, as he does hit pit road now in the 93 car. So we'll kind of keep an eye and see. And it looks like it may have just been a stop and go as he's down and away, but you can see that's going to drop him a lap here as he's just rolling out of pit road there. So now his competition is going to be the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. Problem for Kevin is Maxwell's already on track and up to speed here, but they are going to merge right next to each other there. So that is the lucky dog battle as things run here between that 94 and the 93. Up front, it's the 67 and 28 show like we have seen a good chunk of this race. But I'm going to say give it another 5-10 laps if we stay under green flag conditions and wait for that 23 of Sebastian Marin. He is going to find his way back up there. It seems like he's been definitely better on the long runs in that 23 car, so I'm going to keep an eye on him. But again, I feel like we've got some question marks here. I'm watching Vincent Sora, I'm watching Chad Wilkes. Again, they did not have the initial track position they needed, so this is now their opportunity. They're going to have to pretty much get what they can here because they know, one, they can make it to the end from here, and two, they need to fight for every track position they can. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on those two as right now, the +9, +10 from their starting positions. And we also saw Zach Hall earlier in that 24. He's had a lot of pace early in this race as well. So as he's trying to work himself back into that top 10 as well, now up into the 8th position. So yeah, these guys are starting to get a little greedy. As I say, now it's starting to get to that point where you're just going to try to get every spot you can here when these tires are fresh. And right now that Lucky Dog battle, it is starting to tighten up a little bit. Maxwell's only half a second in front. There he is right there. And I think you can say, as I say, the contact between the 94 and the 7, the 93 is going to try to take advantage of it. I think that was the 94 trying to find a way to get around that 7 car to keep that momentum up and stay ahead of that 93 car. But unfortunately, with letting him have to gather it back up, that's going to now put the battle for that Lucky Dog right here between the two of them. So this will be a hard fight between these two because neither is going to want to give this spot up, because again, this could make or break a lot of drivers' races here if you're in that Lucky Dog spot. You can see Maxwell sends it into turn number 1. Saying it looks like right now they're going to try to split this number 7 if they get the opportunity. But now can Kevin use the 7 as a pick, or can Maxwell push the 7 by? And it looks like the pick is going to be the winning move there. That's going to be a tough one for Maxwell. That's not going to be something he's going to be happy about, but so it's just unfortunate. It's the nature of the beast. Is you're racing your own race, you're racing guys around you, everybody's got their own agendas, and sometimes it just doesn't quite pan out. But so that puts now the 93 into a Lucky Dog spot at the moment. However, always lots of things that can change over the course of this race. But we're going to go back up front here, though, because we continue to have this number 28 and 67. They've stretched out by about a second now over Sebastian Marin. Saying Sebastian, he has got a train behind him here. He's got Vincent Sora there, Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly starting to creep back into the mix here. Now Chad's going to try to work on that top 4 spot right there underneath the 15. But can he get the power down and clear? Not quite. He's still side by side with that 15 entering 3. Now Chad clears that 15, but now he has to be careful and watch for the crossover, but looks like a good exit for Chad. He's going to hold on to that 4 spot. And like you said, Matt, here comes Ryan Kelly trying to recover after that botched restart. And so he is going to get after it here as well. And he sends it into turn 3, slides up in front of that 15. That is an aggressive Ryan Kelly that I have not seen very often. Usually he's, I wouldn't say more patient, but I'm not used to seeing those aggressive moves out of that 13 car that often. So I said these guys know it's getting down to it, because we are at 25 to go, 24 at the line. And right now, I'd say these two are probably pretty happy with this kind of a top 2 breakaway that they currently have. But again, I'm going to keep an eye on those lap times. But right now, they continue to be the fastest cars on track. Although lap times are starting to start to get a little closer. That 23 car was only about half a tenth slower than the top 2 here. So I'm going to be watching Sebastian to see, can he get after it. And when the leaders do this, this is exactly what Sebastian wants these guys to do. It burns up their tires, slows them down, just puts everything into a good position for that 23 car. The other thing you guys can all be certain of here tonight, all these drivers tonight are going to be sleeping well tonight, because they are just having to manhandle these cars lap after lap. And some of these guys mentioned like that they're like, yeah, we're probably going to be tired after this race. And it's, yeah, from what I've seen, these guys are going to be pretty worn out here tonight. But here's Ryan Kelly trying to work over Chad Wilkes, try to get back up into 4th. And honestly, this is about where Ryan's been most of this race, is right in that top 4, top 5 position here. So this would be a good spot for Ryan here. And like I said, just needs to get, unfortunately, lost a little bit on that restart. So we'll keep an eye on him, because if we get another one, you know he's going to go after it. And yep, there goes Ryan. He grabs that 4th position, slides out of 4 though, or 2 though, I'm sorry. But you can see it looks like they're all starting to bobble a little bit again. These drivers last pitted on lap number 86, so they're about 20 laps or so on these tires. This is when they start to get a little squirrely here, but we're going to jump back up front because, man, Larry cannot breathe without having Johnson on his back bumper here. Leader stays right at that 10th or so mark. And so we got a couple battles here too. There's Vincent Sword now gets a look underneath that 17 of Chad Wilkes. This is a battle for 5th. Chad has it. Vincent trying to get a little bobble there off of 2, but Vincent able to keep throttle down nice and firm there, and he is going to send it into 3. And I believe if he can keep the throttle down here and hold it, not get loose, it looks like he will complete that pass, move Vincent Sora up into the top 5. And then just behind them, I've been watching Cedric Hunter here in the 20. He has been going after Nick Crawford here. He's actually worked to the outside now, trying to make some momentum happen, see if he can get around this way. We'll see. We've been mostly seeing passes on the inside, but right now that top side looking pretty good for these guys. But again, you can see though that they're starting to lose that traction. Though these cars are starting to get that bobble down the straightaways. And unfortunately, an unscheduled pit stop for that 99 of Levi Cox. Car looks to be in good shape, but unfortunately, that's going to drop him out of contention here and down a lap. But right now, again, watching lap times, and it's pretty consistent here right now. Actually, last time by fastest car on track up front is the 15 of Vincent Sora, by about a 10th over those in front of him, as he's starting to close that gap back on Ryan Kelly. Up in front was 67, 65, 65, 69 for Larry Yingling. So these guys are within the hundredths of a second, but Vincent Sora able to get an extra 10th out of it that last time around. So let's say we're down to 18 to go, 17 at the line. And once again, Larry having to just play defense and just basically watch that rear view mirror, because it is full of this 28 car here of Brian Johnson. You mentioned the 99 Levi Cox is back out on track. He is 1 lap down, however, but still 16 to go, and actually not that far behind Kevin and Maxwell. So he could make a late charge here and put himself back into that lucky dog position, because right now he's about 4.5 seconds back. And it's a good battle here for that lucky dog right now. But Kevin has it. Maxwell trying to get it back here, so we'll have to keep an eye on this battle as well. But look a little further back there to that 99 car. He's got fresh tires, so he's going to be after it. And here comes Brian Wang. And actually, these pit stops are most likely those drivers that took the waiver rounds, now that I'm thinking about it. These guys could not make it to the end, so I think that's exactly what we're seeing. But we're going to jump back up front, because, again, Brian Johnson just all over Larry Yingling here as we're down to 15 to go. And lap time wise, last time by actually Sebastian Mayer and Vincent Sora, again this time about a 10th quicker than Larry and Brian. As here comes Brian, he's going to take a look entering turn number 3. Larry sends it on the outside, but can he get it to cut? Looks like he will for the time being, but that 28 gets a great exit off of 4. And these guys make it look easy, but it is anything but. You can tell just how hard these guys are having to work lap after lap. I mentioned that battle for the lucky dog. It's not much of a battle anymore. You can see the 99, he's already gotten around Maxwell Caldwell, working around Kevin DeBrown now. Move that 99 into lucky dog position now with that move with those fresh tires. So I'll say race isn't over yet for Levi. You see one more hitting pit road. That was the 22 of Tyler Dengler. Similar situation for him, I believe, having the pit here, as he just could not make it today. Was hoping for that quick yellow. Did not happen. So far, just the one caution here as they continue to run around lap number 85 or so when that yellow came out. But right now, say again, watching intervals, it was a 33.05. And actually, I think instead of telling you, I think I can tell you the lap time. So let's pull these up here. That's Larry's lap time. That's the one we want. Let's find our lap times here, fellas. So here's the difference between Larry and Brian. Then we'll jump a little bit back, because I think this is going to be the potential story right here. As you can see, lap 110, 111, and 112, Sebastian Marin was over about a 10th of a second quicker those 3 laps. This last time by just a little slower. So I think we're going to have to definitely be keeping an eye on that, though, because I think Sebastian is finally starting to get into that window where I think he's starting to let the tires kind of come in and start getting after it here. So last time by, again, these guys pretty much dead heats right now. 07, 02, 08, and 04 for our top 4 drivers here. Like I said, though, Sebastian needs about another second to get really in the thick of things here. But again, even a few battles elsewhere on the track here. You got Chad Wilkes and Zach Hall. Saying you can see right there, Ryan Kelly's in that mix as well. Because again, here comes that 99. He's going to try to unlap himself here in that 99. He's got 10 laps to do it, and I think he could do it. So I'm going to keep an eye on Levi Cox here as well, as he is not too far away from these leaders. Might be able to place, not spoiler, but at least get himself back into that lead lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 99 here. But right now, this is definitely the battle. And yeah, Jimmy, I say no Logan tonight, unfortunately. But we did have 22 starters, so a great opening night for the brand new league inaugural race. And so far, it has been a great race as well. As here's Chad Wilkes, Ryan Kelly starting to go back after it, and add Zach Hall and Danny Cochran into this mix. So about a 4-car battle here for the top 5 right now. As Ryan has it, Chad's going to try to take it as Ryan big loose out of the tri-oval. And that's going to allow, I think, Chad to complete that pass. But don't blink now, because at 24, he's going to try to capitalize, get a 2 for 1 if he can. Again, loose off of 2 for both of those drivers. And man, these guys are going at it. And this is probably what Chad wants to see. He wants to see this side-by-side battle, because this might let him sneak away and try to hold that top 5 for himself. And like I mentioned, that 99 car, here he comes. He's going to roll the top here. So he's got tires. He can pretty much feels like he can probably do whatever he wants right now. So Larry's going to have to try to kind of split the middle. And there he goes high of the one, low on the other. And move that 99 of Levi Cox back onto the lead lap here. And that just shows how important tires are, as that's about a 20 lap difference there. That 99 car is just driving around these guys like they're standing still right now. So we are down to 8 to go, 7 to go now at the line. Still about 2.5 tenths for Larry over Brian. Sebastian Marin just hasn't been able to close enough yet. You can see still holding solid about second back there. Pretty even with with Vincent as well. But I said this is where the battle is right here, though. You've got about 5 cars under a blanket here. You've got the 17, the 13, the 24, the 2. And so you can see Ryan Kelly, he lost a couple spots. He's going right back after him here. I'm going to try to grab that position and say that 20 is not too far out of the picture here as well. If they start racing too hard, that's going to allow that 20 to sneak in there as well. But man, this 24 and the 2, they are going after right now. Tooth and nail, big lose for the 24. Hangs on to it though, as we're down to 6 to go. It's like the 2 car are going to try to run the top here, get some big momentum off of turn number 2. Is it enough to tuck low? It is. So here comes Danny Cochran. He's going to look low of the 13 Ryan Kelly. Try to get himself up into 6. Sweet car tight on entry in 3. He's going to roll out of it a little bit. That gets Ryan the momentum back out of 4. As you see, there's Chad Wilkes trying to break away, but these guys are drifting it through the tri-oval. We're down to 5 to go here. Oh, contact with the 24 and the 2 going around. Caution is out. You can see the 24 has to lock it down to avoid contact with the 2. And so we are under yellow here. So now the question is, will we get... I believe they do have the green-white checkers here. I say it's, again, new league. I got to learn some of the rules and everything. But late yellow, this is going to change a lot of things. And I think also we mentioned Levi Cox getting his lap back. Beneficiary of that, Maxwell Caldwell, lucky dog here, was able to get around the 93 of Kevin DeBrown. So move Maxwell. He will get back onto the lead lap here. The question is, though, what do you do if you're leaders? I think if there's gonna be a restart, I think there's no question you have to pit. But the question is, what do you do to the balance of your car? Do you put fuel in? Do you try to keep it light on the tank? There's gonna be a lot of question marks here. So we saw the crash as it happened. We'll go ahead and we'll just focus on the pit stops here, because this is going to be a very important pit stop. And again, we saw last time Brian had a great pit stop. Now he's going to come in right behind the 67 car. So we'll watch and say, I think we're going to see a very busy pit road. I don't think we'll see any gamblers staying out. You're going to see some drivers staying out to get back on the lead lap, taking those wave arounds. The question mark could be, I'm watching Levi Cox. Yep, there it is. That was going to be my question mark. What does Levi do? He stays out. I like this strategy. He's going to be on a tire deficit for sure, no question. But he was going to be coming in about 13th, 14th position. I like this gamble. Next question, of course, 2 or 4. It looks like 4 all around the board. But who wins the race? Oh, we got. I didn't say. I said 4 on the board, and I was wrong. Brandon Colley, he takes 2. So this really shakes up the running order. Now you're going to have no tires up front with the 99, 2 tires with the 7 of Brandon Colley, and then 4 tires on back with Larry Yingling, Brian Johnson in 4th, and Sebastian Marin and Vincent Sora in 5th and 6th. So this caution is going to change everything here. And then also need to mention on the strategies, so we do have a few drivers staying out to try to get that wave around. First of which is going to be the 93 of Kevin DeBrown, get back on the lead lap. Tyler Dengler, he is going to stay out as well to get back to 1 lap down. James Heater, Kevin Freeze, all staying out as well. So these drivers are going to try to at least get 1 or more of their laps back here. So again, Maxwell Caldwell though, got the lucky dog. He's back out on track. He should be able to hit pit road here. 4 tires fuel. And the downside is he will be restarting at the very back here and behind lap down cars who don't take the wave around. But say at least it gives him a fighting chance. So I think we'll see him make the sharp left. Yep, there he goes. He's going to hit pit road here. So yeah, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, our green, white, checkered TV here with the... No, not the Hash Brothers Performance. Horsepower Racing League, as I'm still learning. Looks like race number 1 we will get green, white, checkered attempts in this one. So this is, I mean, it's been 2 cautions all race long, a late yellow here. Pit strategy, this is gonna get spicy. So again, you've got, let's see, pitted at lap 106 for Levi Cox. So about, what, 16 lap older tires for the 99. However, only 16 lap older right side tires than the 7. Equal lefts. And then brand new tires over in row number 2. So the question is, where is the advantage? Is it the driver that has control of this restart on no tires? Is it second place with 2 tires that has to react to that 99? Or, because I mean, for Larry and Brian here, they're going to be watching that 99. And so for Brian here, he's just got to hope that that the number 7 has a good reaction time. Because if he loses momentum, that could be all it takes here. But again, though, these cars are a handful. With brand new tires, they're going to be an even bigger handful here with worn tires. And it's all to play for here, as we're going to get the 1 to go here is for green, white, checkered attempt number 1. And just to throw another little craziness in there, track temperature 128 degrees. It is hot, it is greasy. These guys have some worn tires on the front row, fresh tires in the back row, but again, 800+ horsepower behind the throttle pedal of these things. So we'll see what we got here, but this is going to be an interesting one. I don't know which lane's going to prevail, which row's going to prevail. This is probably the last thing that Larry and Brian were hoping for, but I say for the viewers, this is going to be very exciting here at the end. So for those that aren't familiar with green, white, checkered attempts, the way it works is they will restart with 2 to go. If there's a yellow that comes out before the white flag is thrown, the field will be frozen, and depending on the number of green, white, checkers, they will attempt it that many more times. If the white flag flies and then there's an incident, there will be no caution. They will run to the finish. So yeah, I'll say that 99 car, he's got Racing for Jesus on the hood. He's going to probably be hoping for a little bit of help here as well. So we're going to see as we get back to greens, the pace car ducks off. 99, he's got control. He is down and away. Big slide for that 7 car. You can see he's going to tuck to the outside. That's going to hurt the 87's momentum, but if Larry stays pinned behind the 99, he's going to have to try to protect. Larry's going to tuck low. Nothing that the 67 can do. Larry's going to swing on by there. He's going to take the lead, but now moving up into second, Sebastian Marin. Here's, look at the inside there. You got Ryan Kelly, you got Brian Johnson. They're 3 wide here for third. And so far, we still stay green. But right now, this is the battle for the win as they are. And right now, it looks like it's going to be between the 67 and the 83. Both slide out of turn, 23 out of turn number 4. And we are on the white flag lap, so this is it coming to the end. Sebastian Marin's going to have to try to do something to mess up Larry. Does he give him the bumper, or does he try to make movies? See in the background there, still Brian Johnson hanging on to third. Oh, Sebastian Marin in the wall off of 2. Is that enough? Does that Larry sneak on by here and steal, not steal the win, but grab the win here? And right now, looking out of 4, it's looking pretty good for the 67. It is indeed Larry Yingling going to win the inaugural High Horsepower Racing League as a wreck behind him, but Larry Yingling going to get the win over Sebastian Marin. Brian Johnson going to get 3rd. Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, our top 5. And then in the back, it was chaos there at the end. We'll go back and take a look at that, but man, that restart, that was the concern, was those tires, and as unfortunate for the 7, just those tires just didn't have the grip they needed. But Larry had exactly what he needed on that restart, and he was able to capitalize and grab the win here tonight. I'll say Larry may have been retired from racing for a while, but he still knows how to do burnouts, and it's probably pretty easy too. And you've got, again, 800 plus horsepower in the back of this thing, as I think he's going to roast those tires until they are just completely melted off of it. And as I mean, what a race! I mean, he was in the battle all night long. Earlier with Brian Johnson, later on Sebastian Marin, then Brian back into the mix, and then a late race restart, able to get around that number 99 car of Levi Cox, and it had to be aggressive, and it worked, and it's going to give Larry the win here tonight. Alright, so let's go back though, and we'll take a look at coming to the checkered, because I say that's where things also seem like they kind of kicked off a fair bit in the back here. So I'm not sure where it all happened here, but we'll go back and we'll take a look here right around, I think it was towards the back here around Chad Wilson Company. You got the 11 and Nick Crawford right behind. We definitely saw some cars stepping out because they were just giving it everything they absolutely had here. But so, oh, yeah, I'm watching the 11 there, Nick Crawford. He gets, oh, you see right there in the back, actually, it's the 20, Cedric Hunter. He gets loose in front of the 2 of Danny Cochran. And then you see Danny just trying to hang on to it, There goes the 11 as well. And then, yeah, this is what I saw in the background there. The 2, oh, he gets actually hooked into the wall. Won't even let him cross the finish line. You see the 20 trying to just slide across the start-finish line. The 94, Maxwell Caldwell, for good measure as well. So, yeah, it was a little chaotic there towards the back here at the end of this one. But what a race. What a finish, though. So we're going to kick things off, though. We got to talk to our top 3. And we are going to lead things off with our 3rd place finisher of Brian Johnson. I say I'm going to have to learn some names, learn some faces, but it looks like he is already ready for me. So we're going to pull in that number 28 of Brian Johnson. And so it was pretty much, for the most part here tonight, the Brian and Larry show, I would say. Sebastian Marin, he was kind of trying to crash the party a little bit for you guys as well at some points as well. And then you were right there. You were just pretty much hounding Larry lap after lap there. Towards the end though, you get that late yellow. Is that an opportunity where like, okay, this is my chance, or was that I wanted to try to run this out to the end and see if it was just between the 2 of us what I had for him?
Well, I mean, to be honest, if it went green right there, I didn't have a whole lot for him. I had made my right rear way too hot trying to, catch him and pass him. So, if it went green, I was definitely finishing second. But I was perfectly fine with that. But, got the caution. I was like, okay, well, here's an opportunity. And, Levi, he stayed out or got 2 tires. And then Brandon Colley got 2 tires. And it's like, well, okay, we're not starting on the front row, but, we at least got a shot. But, when you take 2 tires with this high horsepower that we got here tonight, on the restart, you got to be super careful. So, it's kind of unfortunate what happened in front of me and had to check up, and that kind of cost me the shot at the win right there. But we'll take it. This is the most fun I've had on iRacing in a very long time. I've raced Larry for a few years now, and it's always a really fun time racing him. And yeah, it's fun to be back in some high horsepower cars where you gotta like drive this thing every single foot of the racetrack.
Yeah, and the literal every foot of the racetrack is spot on because I mean you guys are having to wheel those things down the backstretch. I mean we were watching about 20 laps in, and it seemed like those things started to get pretty evil on you. But I mean, yeah, it was you. I felt like you, Larry, and Sebastian were definitely kind of the three to watch tonight. Kind of various points of the run, each of you seem to have a little bit of an advantage at different sections, but yeah, like I said, I mean, two cautions in the race for the first race of the season. I mean, that's hard to come by in any league. Kind of shows, I think, like you said, the talent level of what you got here with you and then the guys you're racing against. It was a lot of fun to watch, man. Like you said, and yeah, the pit strategy. Yeah, so what happened was the 99 Levi Cox. He actually had to take. I think he had not an unscheduled pit stop, but he took a wave around on the previous yellow, and so he had to pit around lap 106 for tires. So he was about at a 10-15 lap deficit on tires, but when you're going to be restarting at the tail end of the lead lap, I think went for the gamble and like I said in the two tires for the number 7 car, and so it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in because like I said, you got old left tires, left sides, but then you got to try to react to the leader, and like I say, it doesn't take much for these things to light up. So it was definitely a pretty wild restart there at the end.
Oh yeah, definitely. It kind of sucked. I had to check up there. I felt like I would have had something for Larry if we could have made it through there, at least through 1 and 2, pretty clean. But that's how it goes. Can't blame him too much because it is first race back in these things. But yeah, I mean, uh, talking about every guy in the field tonight. I mean, having as many green flag laps as we did is very, very impressive. And I know Larry Yingling. He did a lot of hard work, getting the guys that he wanted here tonight. So, I'm really excited to race with a lot of these guys. I've recognized these names for 2, 3, 4 years. So, it's a good group of guys that we have here tonight.
Yeah, say like you said, yeah, for this being race number one, definitely bodes well for the remainder of the season. But just a great start, like you said, to the season here. Brian able to grab that top three. But before we let you go, so I know you got some good sponsorship and associates on that side of that 28 machine. So definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for the podium here tonight.
Yeah, just gotta give a shout out to Hot Laps Designs for putting the wrap on the car here tonight. Dana Cochran did a great job with that, and he's a teammate of mine here on Friday nights, as well as Nick Crawford and Vincent Sora. So happy to be racing with them and these high horsepowered machines, and just got to give a shout out to my general iRacing team, Category 5, um, as well as with Vincent Sora and Nick Crawford. You got Zachary Hall and Cedric Hunter on that as well. And we just we try to push each other every single time we race together. And I think racing these things here on Friday night is kind of help our skill set a lot as individuals and teams. So got to thank them for pushing me hard every single time we race. And just got to give a shout out to you for putting on a great show and everybody that tuned in, and then Larry as well for putting this whole thing together.
Yeah, so you have to spoil the party for Larry here soon though, because you can't let the league owner kind of have too much fun over there. But great job tonight, Brian. Like I said, tables turned just a little bit, and say we might be seeing that 28 in victory lane. So great job tonight, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing more of you the rest of the season.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, that is that 28 of Brian Johnson. Qualified fifth, finishes in third. We're going to switch things up now to our second place finisher, and that is going to be the number 23 of Sebastian Marin. So I'm no surprise to get some interviews with Sebastian. Now, usually, though, it's in the super speedway side of things, but man, it looks like it doesn't matter if it's a super speedway, if it's a truck, if it's an Xfinity car, or 800 horsepower beast here at Charlotte. You find a way to put that thing on pole, and as I was telling Brian there, it looked like it was pretty much a I said 3 horse race, but we'll modify here for a 3 bull race here tonight. You, Larry, and Brian, look like you three are the class of the field there, and kind of everybody seemed like had their little advantages. Looked like you had a really good long run car compared to the two of them. I mean, just take us through the race, the strategies, and kind of what you wish would have done a little differently to put you ahead of those two. Well, the one, I should say.
Man, that was probably the single hardest race I've ever driven. That was so much fun. But yeah, like you said, started out the race out front, but those two other guys were just they were so much faster than me on the short run. It's just I don't know if it's driving style or what, but I just couldn't really keep up. And since I knew that I kind of tried to save the right rear as much as I could, and that's why I came out strong at the end of the runs. And yeah, as soon as I saw them pitting, I knew it was kind of gonna be a two stopper. A one stop seemed a little bit too long and too slow, so it was gonna be a two stopper from there. And then I got overcutted by them. Then I caught them, and I felt like my tires were so much better before that yellow came out. So I was a little disappointed because I felt like I could maybe create a gap and then maybe run away with it, but uh, oh well. And then the restart, I knew they were just gonna pull away from me, and I wanted to save tires to see if I could be there at the end, but I overthought it, and I ended up destroying my tires. So I could just sit right there around like a second and a half behind them, and I couldn't do anything about it. So when that last yellow came out, I saw it as a opportunity. And then the two cars, one stayed out, one took two tires. I thought maybe this could be my shot, and I almost got it, but came up short. But hey, it's an honor to finish second to Larry. He's a beast. So I'm trying to race, more out of my element or less super speedway. So this is a good start. So hopefully I can maybe get a win here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, for this being outside your box, I was like, you definitely look like you picked up quickly, and we're right, like you said, right there. And like I said, also if the situation changed a little bit, maybe put you in the perfect spot there with the fresher tires and having that long run pace on those two. But and like I said, still overall just an amazing race. It was a great fight with the three of you over the course of that run. So just hats off, man. I say it looked like all of you guys really earned your keep tonight because it looked pretty exhausting out there. So so I'm going to give you the floor here, though, and give you any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for your runner-up here tonight.
Of course, want to give a big thanks to Larry for putting on this league. It's man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can already tell just from this first race. I want to thank you for putting on the broadcast. I personally think you're one of the best broadcasters out there. Uh, Personally, and want to thank my teammates. Kevin, Brian, and Ray. This is kind of a little bit out of their element as well. So we were just having a good time. So, yep, want to thank all of them. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, your check's in the mail. Say appreciate the kind words there, but yeah, just a great job. I say, and yeah, like I said, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun this season. So it's definitely a great stepping stone to kick off this new league. So, yeah, definitely look forward to what you got for the rest of the season here, man. So great job tonight, Sebastian. Look forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, that leaves one driver left to chat with. That is going to be our race winner in that number 67 of Larry Yingling. Saying it's never a bad time to when you got the sponsor watching on YouTube able to congratulate you as you come across the line. All right, man. So the conspiracy theorists, they're going to be ablaze. Like, man, this guy, he creates a league. He wins the first race. I don't know about this thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when I crossed the line. I'm like, geez. But hey, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Charles Pastrana made a league, and they started winning, and I guess that's just what I needed.
Well, I mean, it's like you're definitely not one that's unfamiliar with victory lane. I mean, we know, well, I know how successful you've been in the races that I've been able to broadcast and to race with you. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's outright pace, if it's fuel strategy, if it's tire strategy. You find any and every way to win. But man, I mean, it was definitely a work tonight for you as well. Say at different points you're fighting Brian tooth and nail, Sebastian at certain points of the race. And then that late restart there, and I'm sure that's where you're like, okay, what's the right call here? I mean, I think to me it was no question you're gonna have to take 4 tires and fuel because just how much these things eat up the tires. But then you see the 2 in front of you either stay out or take the 2. With you being on the inside line, did that feel like, okay, I'm still in the catbird seat because you know that you're behind the control car, or I mean, how nervous are you on that final restart?
Oh, I was pretty nervous. It was mainly Levi's decision. If he chose high side, I don't think I'd be in victory lane. I think Brian would have got it probably. But being right behind Levi, and I remember him passing to get his lap back soon before the last caution came out, so I knew he had pitted somewhat recently, so his tires weren't horrible. and he got off the restart pretty well. Then once he spun his tires, and I made the rules, but I forgot, or I didn't want to pass him when he spun his tires a lot, so I had to let off, and then that brought Brian and Sebastian right on my bumper, and luckily Levi gave me just enough room entering one where I can just squeeze in there, and then yeah, that was definitely nerve-wracking, especially in these cars.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, even on brand new tires, I mean, there's only so much aggression you can do with. I mean, you can't just pedal to the metal with these things, because as soon as you do, it's pretty much going to be game over. I mean, I was watching a practice, drivers lighting up the tires out of 2, out of 4, like you said. So these tires probably not meant to cope with the power that these cars make with the model and such, but it was, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a wild one. I mean, and I'm sure also as the league owner, league creator, say probably a proud dad moment too, say to run just with the 2 yellows for 125 laps here with a brand new league, 22 drivers taking the green. I mean, I would say as a whole, I mean, that's a pretty successful first night out tonight.
Oh man, I know with this group of drivers, they would be fine, but with these cars, and they're old, and no one even looks at them. So I figured there had been at least a very early caution, and this handful total at least. But around lap 80, I was really starting to think, man, we might have a caution-free race, but I jinxed my own league, and we got one soon after. But it is, to me, the very first part of the run, I felt very equal to Sebastian and Brian. Then the middle part of the run, it seemed like Brian just had our numbers. And once he got by me, I saw him back up to me. I thought he was doing it on purpose. He might have, but then later in the run, I would pass him, and I thought I would be a lot faster than him. Then I start backing up to him, not meaning to. You don't feel dirty air or anything much with these cars, but there has to be something. It seemed like once someone, no matter how fast you were compared to others, you just stayed close to each other. And last half of the race, Brian was really gaining on me on the front stretch, and I was just having not mirror drive where he was going, just paying attention how he gets in the throttle and where he was backing up, and just trying to mimic what he was doing to the best of my ability. And this was my first race, including hosted, in just about 8 months. And I figured I would not be nervous, but just have that, I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't really feel anything. I guess I honestly came in here thinking top 5 would be a win to me, and but that qualifying lap just gave me a boost of confidence, and just stayed towards the front pretty much the whole race.
Yeah, so it didn't take long for you to shake the rust off, and I think I mean, obviously sim racing not quite the same as real racing, but say you put that helmet on, if you will, and saying just you kind of get back to work, and I think your brain's pretty much wired to knowing what you got to do once it's go time there. So yeah, it was a really fun race to watch in the broadcast, Larry. As I said, and I was joking with some of the guys, like these guys are gonna be sleeping well tonight. Even pre-race we're talking about it, and yeah, I think everybody's gonna be maybe feeling a little sore in the morning, some shoulders and things like that. Be like, oh, that was more of a workout than I expected. But it was just a great race, a great job by you, Larry. Like I said, made the right calls, had to make the big moves when he needed to at the end to grab the lead back to be able to pull off the win here tonight. So you got your sponsor was watching on YouTube as well. So I say it's always cool to be able to have that on board and watching when you get these wins, man. So definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shots you'd like to give for winning tonight.
I definitely want to shout out all my teammates this race. Devin Brock, this was actually his first, I believe, ever oval race on iRacing. What a car combo to do it in. And if it was anybody else, I wouldn't trust him to do that, but I knew he would be just fine. And Levi Cox, James Heater, and Ryan Kelly, then my personal sponsor, Muffin Sports Cards on Instagram. It's great to see him watching a race again. Been a while since I've raced anything. And then shout out to my league sponsors, Hash Performance and Hot Lap Designs. And that's a huge shout out to everyone in the league for not only racing, but racing great. There's barely any hiccups during the race, and none of us like to deal with lap cars, but this was the first ever race I was perfectly fine with lap cars. There was times where it hurt you, sometimes it helped you. It was very fair, and yeah, I was definitely nervous coming into this season. See how the health, if you would say, of the league will look like, and I think it looks pretty healthy, and I think just definitely look forward to the next race.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see, like I said, just see kind of build and grow from here. So, like I said, a really, really great start to kick off the season. So, as I go enjoy the multiple victories, obviously on track, but then as a success on the league front as well, man. I say well-earned, well-deserved. I know you've put a lot of hard work and time into getting this all set up. So, it's cool to see it all kind of come to fruition. So, I'm also really thankful, really honored that you kind of picked me up to be a part of this as well. Selfishly, sometimes I want to be in the track, but when I saw you guys having troubles like you were tonight with that traction, I felt pretty good being up here in the booth. So just great job though tonight, Larry. I say enjoy this one. You can go debrief with your buddies and look forward to chatting with you again here soon, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that is our race winner / league owner, Larry Yingling, in that number 67 Muffin Sports Cards Dodge Charger, getting the win here tonight. Again, season opener, league premiere race for these guys. So, say again, Sebastian Marion getting the first pole of the season of the league's existence. Larry Yingling getting the win. But a lot of good racing. I think it's going to show there's going to be a lot of fun to come the rest of the way. So before we let you all go, though, we got to go over our final results for tonight's event. As we saw there, though, Larry Yingling getting the win by just over a tenth over Sebastian Marin. And you got Brian Johnson there in third. Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, our top 5. Then you continue on Chad Wilkes, Nick Crawford, Cedric Hunter, Tom Senchak, Levi Cox, our top 10. And then Zach Hall, Maxwell Caldwell, Brandon Colley, Kevin DeBrown in 14th. That's our lead lap finishers, and the drivers 1 down, including Danny Cochran, Tyler Dengler, James Heater, and Kevin Fries. And unfortunately, a few drivers not the nights they were looking for, including Andrew Pileshi, Devin Brock, Brian Wang, and Raymond Rittenauer there. So that'll do it for us here tonight at the Horsepower Racing League. So that being said, though, again, keep an eye on the schedule. Say they will be back again next week here on Green White Checker TV. Hope you all enjoyed it tonight. It's a lot of fun to do this and be back in the booth with some of these guys. Again, it kind of feels like a blast from the past with some of these guys that I've got to race and broadcast with previously in other leagues. So really fun to see them back in a very challenging format here tonight. So hope you all enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll definitely have some more racing here on Green White Checker TV throughout the rest of the season. So hope you all have a wonderful evening. Happy Friday. And we will see you all next week. So until then, take care. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.